Hello and welcome to a podcast about. I am your host, Kath, and I was supposed to record this last week, but then I forgot and I was really tired and it was the last week of my work. So I thought, hey, I'll take a break this week and I'll do it the next week because, that's a thing I can do. And I'm sitting down right now and I realize I have no idea what to talk about, which is annoying, but I kind of winged it. I was winging it. I don't know how to say it, but I basically just did whatever I wanted for the first episode. I think that would work for the second episode as well. But I feel like we're going to be centered around a specific topic and we're just going to air hockey our way through it. That does not make sense, but I'm trying. I really am. I'm just really tired. Yesterday was the last day of my work and now I have a break for like almost 2 weeks, which is kind of exciting. And I travel this Sunday and I'll be back by the end of the week. So, there's a lot going on again in my plate, but I'm just looking forward to having a peaceful week after this week. I think that would be fun. Besides that, there isn't much going on. Let's see, some new updates. I got this bead kit that, you can use to make beads. And I made this necklace and it's like rainbow colored and it's really cool and I really like it. What else? I ordered from Shein a week ago. No, it was a while back, and then I got my order like this week and I was like really excited about it, and it was a lot of cool stuff, but unfortunately I lost like one of the things that I ordered, so I was kind of pissed about that the day I got the order, but then it was fine. And yeah, I think that was the highlight of my week. And then I got dressed up again. It'd been a while since I had dressed myself up because, it was work and I was just barely getting through the days. I was like, I don't really have the time or energy to do anything right now. But I had to get ready because I had to go out at like this restaurant with some people and, it was fun. I had fun and I really liked the look I did because surprisingly, it took me like just a few minutes. It took me like 10 minutes to get my entire face ready, and that is an achievement because usually it'll get me like 30 minutes to like 3 hours depending on what I want to do with my face, and that kind of means that I'll be cleaning my eyes very often because I don't like what I've done with my eyes. Besides that, nothing much has happened, but there's something that I've always, it's a topic that I've always been really interested in, and something that really intrigues and annoys me at the same time. It's the concept of God, how to explain this? It's something that's circulated in my mind. I don't know how to say this, but basically how social media works, and I know that's pretty not embarrassing, like annoying, like everyone talks about this. Everyone says, oh, social media is toxic and social media is this and social media is that. Given that statement is somewhat true, I think I'm more interested in the aspect of how people deal with other people on the internet and, the, what do you call it? The way your appearance and, your appearance is going to affect your niche. And I know it's really dumb. I know it's a dumb concept, but take this for an example. TikTok is like mainly a platform where people are gonna dance and get money. Not money, but like get famous or like do like these kind of point of view videos and get famous, right? And usually the people who all do these dance TikToks and like point of view TikToks, they're all like they fit a certain standard, right? The certain standard that everyone looks at and goes, oh wow, these people are really pretty and really nice looking, and it pleases your eyes. That's how I see it. If it's something that catches your eye and it, if you find it physically pleasing, you're gonna watch it. And these things, because of the person's appearance, it's gonna be watched more and more and more to the point where they get famous. I might be paraphrasing this, but basically, essentially, that's how it works, because I've been on TikTok for long enough to understand this. And then, God, okay, the annoying. Let's talk about the annoying part of TikTok. I don't know if you guys use it enough, but once you've been there for like a while, you'll start noticing people making fun of other people because of them doing something that everyone considers dumb. For example, you'll have let's take a white skinny person doing a dance TikTok, and there will be some comments down on the video that are gonna be like, oh, this person's so generic, so basic, so undifferent from like, so what do you call it? There's this word. There's nothing striking about them. There's nothing unique about them. Obviously, someone's gonna comment that, but most of the comments are gonna be filled with praise of like how pretty they look and how nice they look and how they're like, everyone's gonna be really kind towards them. But you have a person who is who either has a literal disability that they cannot control, and is either somewhat overweight or is not older, but like just it doesn't get the rhythm of how things are done on TikTok. But you can tell that they're trying, because obviously they are trying. The comments are so horrible. Like, I cannot explain to you how disgusting some of the comments are. The people will be out here making fun of people's disabilities, making fun of their appearance, making fun of things that they cannot control, And again, every time I see this, I always think that if this was somebody who fit this kind of general standard, nobody would have a problem with it. And what irks me out even more is the fact that everyone says, oh, the beauty standard is horrible. There's no such thing as a beauty standard. Just be you, be yourself. And then when someone decides to be themselves, they're going to be made fun of. They're going to be ridiculed. They're going to have the absolute life, like, annihilated out of them. They're going to be insulted, made fun of, degraded, you name it. It's going to be horrible, right? And when you bring this up, you can't bring this up because it's something that nobody really realizes. It's something that nobody really cares about. It's not something that everyone clearly thinks of, If people were mindful of their actions, I don't think comment sections would be filled with, physically demeaning comments, right? And it's just really confusing to see that people will just make fun of you just because you don't fit in a standard and stuff like that, right? For example, the worst one is the iPhone versus Android like debate, and it's a thing, like, oh, it's iPhone phones have like better this and Android phones have better that. But people just make fun of people for having a different phone, and that kind of confuses me because not everyone, again, you have to understand that not everyone has the same kind of life conditions as you. Or like somebody who does their makeup a different way, how like emo people or out people are considered outcasts, but like they're more accepted into society than someone who just is generally bad at makeup. Like that's the funniest thing, right? Doing your makeup wrong is worse than doing your makeup right, but a different way, apparently. If you're, if you have a different sense of like, even if you're doing things your own way, you kind of don't understand other people's drift, you're just doing whatever you want, people will make fun of you, people will be upset with you for some reason. If you're successful, people are going to be upset with you. If you're not successful, people are just going to make fun of you. They don't really care. They just genuinely don't really care. And that kind of confuses me because that's just not how this stuff works, right? You shouldn't just make fun of people because of their conditions or because of their environment or because of the way they are. But this ties into a much, much bigger problem, a much bigger problem with social media as a whole. We're consuming so much information from so many different outlets that at this point you don't even know what you've seen in a day. If you sit down right now and think, hey, I want to remember the past like 6 hours of my day, what content did I watch within those 6 hours? I don't remember. I do not remember. I don't know what I watched. I don't know anything. Like, I know some things that, kind of stood out to me, but if you're going to be asking me what I watched or what I consumed or what I saw, I have no remembrance. I do not remember watching anything, right? Because it's so much. You're overwhelming yourself with so much stuff, right? And because of that, first of all, that's a separate thing. You're overwhelming yourself. Number two, because of that, a lot of people, they're going through so much stuff, they'll forget sometimes that the person they're watching isn't just an NPC. They're not just something that exists. It's an actual living, breathing human being, and that person has feelings. That person's going to reciprocate, and they're going to leave a comment that comes up to their mind because they're just going through it. They're scrolling through TikTok. You see a funny video, which isn't really funny, but you laughed at it. You leave a comment kind of being rude to the person. You go on with your life. Chances are the person might see it. Chances are they won't. You go on. You completely forget in the next 10 minutes that you even commented that. Chances are that person's going to comment and be like, hey, that's rude. And then you're going to make fun of them and be like, well, I wasn't trying to be mean. Why are you so upset? And then you go on with your life because it doesn't really affect you. Because, again, your life is really fast. Your life, online at least, is going at such a high speed that you don't have time to sit down and think, hey, that might have been rude, or hey, I shouldn't, comment this. I'm kind of a lazy person. I dislike just doing many things. I don't know if it's because of some stuff that I'm going through or not, but I just, a lot of times I don't do things because I just don't have the energy to do them. And one of those things is literally commenting on people's TikToks because, God, it's so dumb. You see, you go through comment sections, you find this video that you find funny where it's just a person who's kind of unfortunate. They're doing something and it's just not coming out the right way, and you're just kind of, you're laughing at the outcome of it. And you're like, you go to the comment section to write some funny comment that you think of. And then you start scrolling through the comment section because the comment section has these kind of weird comments about this person and how they look, right? And they just start talking about how weird this person looks and how dumb this is and how they shouldn't even be on the internet. And it kind of starts devolving into just being rude. And it's almost like everyone in the comment section is in a competition. And sometimes you're so off-put by that you don't comment. I don't comment on TikTok anymore. I rarely do. And most times when I do, it's really on something that I want to know more about. So I ask the person, whoever the creator is, hey, can you tell me more about this stuff? Because I feel like it's really cool and I want to get into it. Because opening up the comment section is just, it's depressing. You feel so confused as to what this person did in order to get this reaction. And that is kind of off-putting. That's really off-putting. For example, I remember this one guy who was just he was I don't know if you probably have seen him. If you watch TikTok, you probably have similar For You pages. It's this dude who dresses alternatively, right? And he's not that, I feel conventionally attractive. People obviously don't find him attractive because this normal person who just kind of vibes to a really old Paramore or I'm not an emo person. I don't know how to explain this. This is so annoying. But I'm not really into what you would call emo music. I think that's how you would say it. I don't know, guys. I'm really tired. But he has he lip syncs to Paramore, and he has these cool kind of songs where he's lip syncing to. And first the comments were just kind of making fun of his appearance. They're haha, you look really ugly, which again is rude, But then it went from haha, you look really ugly, to haha, oh my god, you're probably a child predator. And it's funny to comment this because you see a comment section and you're like, oh my god, everyone's saying this. I should comment the same thing. I should actually go above and beyond and say something so disgusting that I don't even know where it comes from, right? And you leave this comment, and this dude, I remember, he left the internet because of this. And you gotta think sometimes, like, where do you get this information from? Why would you say that to someone, right? For example, I'm not a big fan of Minecraft YouTube anymore. I used to be. I still watch, like, some people sometimes, but I'm just not into it anymore. But, everyone knows Dream. Everyone knows who Dream is. And his alleged face reveal had this person who was who was moderately overweight, obese, and people were making fun of this person, going, oh my god, Dream turns out to be this fat kid, this loser fat kid. He probably doesn't go out of his house. He probably doesn't do this or that. He smells. This is probably why he hasn't done a face reveal, because he's probably so huge now. And I thought, like, imagine being the kid. For example, even if that wasn't Dream. Imagine being that kid and having your face plastered all over the internet because somebody figured out that apparently you're Dream, and going through the comment section, and you already know what's going to happen. You already know what people are going to say about you. And just reading through these comments and, Reddit threads of people just absolutely destroying you for being an overweight person, right? And having videos about you where people are just... And having people... Something's off. And having people just make videos about you and laughing and, like, making you this kind of object of just, like, literal pure unfortunate circumstances because everyone thinks it's so funny that Dream turns out to be a fat kid. I wonder if it was actually Dream, how horrible that must have been. Being somebody who's, like, moderately obese, I've never shown myself on the internet because I am terrified. I am a very, very self-conscious person. I have this thing where if I am walking, I have to be aware of every single thing I'm doing. I have to be aware of everyone who's looking at me. If I go outside, I make sure I wear something baggy because I can notice all these things about me and they make me feel really, really self-conscious. I've posted myself on the internet maybe once or twice. I don't usually post myself on my Instagram. I don't post myself on my TikTok much. It's just my face. And I think if that would have happened to me, I was in a horrible place in my life, last year and a few months of this year, I would have just been suicidal again. And, like, horribly so. If I had people saying, oh my god, said creator is so fat and ugly, like, I bet horrible obscenities or some shit like that would be said about me, I don't think I'd be able to function as a human being. I feel like that would be quite literally traumatic for me. And, side tangent, I absolutely hate it when people who are, like, not even remotely, like, they're, like, healthy weight, they're, like, perfect healthy weight, they're gonna be complaining about how overweight they are, and you're, like, here with crippling self-image issues, and you absolutely hate how you look, and, every time you go outside, you feel like everyone's staring at you because you're fat, and nobody talks to you or, like, strikes up a conversation with you because of these reasons, and they're complaining about how chubby they look, or how, how bloated they look, when they're clearly anything but these things. It infuriates me. I cannot tell you how annoying it is. How annoying. I went through an eating disorder last year for 4 months. And, the funny thing is nobody noticed it because there was visible difference. But I just went from fat to, like, oh, she's kind of chunky. God, I've had that said about me, right? And it was so annoying because all these girls who are already these perfect weights, and obviously people can have body image issues, understandable, completely understandable. You can have body image issues, but when you're doing it just for attention, just for somebody to say, oh my god, you're so skinny, that doesn't fly with me. That doesn't fly with me. Don't do that. And if you're somebody who does that, just reevaluate your life choices. That's all I'm gonna say. Another thing that I've noticed, I'm sorry, I'm going off on this weird tangent, but something I just need to get out of my head is, you know how like people online they'll feel so validated when you're gonna be like, you'll see these TikToks where people are saying, oh, you're so skinny, you're so, slim, thick, or whatever validating words you need to feel like you're conventionally attractive. You'll like those TikToks, you'll enjoy them. And a few days ago, I saw this person, and they were doing this. They did this TikTok about, oh, look, it's another fat body positive queen, and it was one of the videos which I feel like was targeted towards me, and I was like, oh well, that's nice. That's kind, And I opened the comments, and I didn't, because in my head I felt really nice about it. I opened the comments, and the comments are a cesspool of women going, excuse me, I'm not fat. Who the hell told you I was fat? I'm not fat. I'm skinny. You look at yourself, and you're calling me fat. And they were acting like this person had accused them of some huge ass crime. And I just closed the comments, and I was like, dude, you can't win on the internet. You try to be nice to yourself and others, people are gonna like shit on you for no reason. You be nice to yourself only, people are gonna shit on you. You can't win on the internet. There's no way of winning on the internet. Anyways, I forgot what I was talking about. Hold on. I had to pause the recording to see where I had left off, and I'm gonna push this away because I feel like every time I say my P's, it just sounds really bad. And anyways, what was I gonna talk about? Yeah. Imagining dream saying that, I feel like that would have taken a huge toll on him. At least I feel like it would have. I don't really know what really happened afterwards. But that's how every single person who is even slightly overweight is taken on the internet. You're just a big joke. A big joke. And if you want to be anything other than that, if you want to be anything other than a joke, you cannot win. You simply cannot make people like you any other way. For example, there's these women, right? Gorgeous women who are not even, like, they are the perfect healthy weights from themselves. And I'll see their comments sometimes because they're so gorgeous, right? And you'll have comments saying, oh, but if she lost that weight, she would look so pretty. And it's probably, and most of the commenters are women, and some of them are men. And I'm like, you don't say that to a person who is already great, who already looks amazing. Like, this is such a horrible, deeply rooted thing in our societies, to think that the way we like people is the way they should be. The beauty standard, it's not some standard that's been publicly or like globally accepted. Every place you go culturally, they're gonna have different beauty standards, and it's a huge thing, right? In for example, in the US, you're gonna have, I don't know, I've never been to the US. You have different standards there. You have different standards in the Middle East, because I live here. I know there's a different standard here. There's a different standard in Pakistan, where I'm from, right? But the thing is, these standards are made up because so many people think the same way. So many people think that the things they find attractive or physically pleasing in a person are things that they should see in everyone. And I've been somebody, again, I don't know if this sounds narcissistic or not, but I don't find anything physically appealing in anyone, because when I'm looking at somebody, I'm looking at them the same way I analyze myself, but then I realize, like, I'm not doing that. Like, oh my god, you have like gorgeous eyes, or like, specific parts of them look so pretty, and all of them looks pretty because of the way they are, right? But so many people that I've known are gonna be like, oh, that nose is ugly, or oh, that face shape is ugly, and I'm like, I don't notice that. I notice this person as a whole. I don't sit down and observe, like, oh, their jawline is like a few angles left from the other side of their face. Like, I don't do that. But there's such a huge emphasis on looking physically perfect in our societies. And it's something, no, there's no entity sitting down here and distributing cards of like, when you're looking at somebody, please make sure they look like this. That's not how it works. Everyone thinks like this, and no matter how much you all try to run from it, like no matter how much even I run from it, sometimes I sit down and I look at this person and I kind of go, well, they don't really look that nice. And then I stop myself, because that's not nice to say, because that's not, because just because of the way they look to me, it doesn't mean I have the right to say, oh, I kind of dislike them just because they look kind of different from other people. For example, I saw this TikTok of unconventionally attractive men in Hollywood, and they were all fine looking dudes, and then there was like this unconventionally unattractive men, or some shit like that, right? I don't know, it was something like that, but it was just people who looked fine, who looked great. Honestly, they didn't have any issues, you know. And people were like, oh my god, he's kind of ugly, but he's kind of hot. And I was like, how can you talk about someone like that? How can you just go ahead and say, oh, this person literally looks physically displeasing to me, to my eyes, but I still like them? Like, that's, oh my god. I feel like it's just because the internet's so filled with kids, and since they've grown up on the internet, you know, you have this idea of like how the human should look, because that's how you've been fed, you know, your content. But they do it in such a horrible way that it is just insulting to the person you're talking about. Again, talking about myself, I am deathly afraid of other people's opinion of me, and I don't understand how other people do it. Sometimes I wonder, how can you put yourself on the internet? Because I've seen how the internet is, and they're going to absolutely annihilate you with horrible, horrible, horrible things that they will say about you, and you have no option but to accept that. Because if you try to defend yourself, you're gonna be made fun of. Excuse me. And, you know, again, it's so, okay. What I mean to say is, because I'm not getting at the point, what I mean to say is, it is entirely disgusting to think, or entirely disrespectful to think, that the way you find somebody, you know, physically attractive is the way you should expect everyone to look. And subconsciously, you have literally created a system within yourself that if you see someone who doesn't fill that criteria, you're not going to be nice to them, or you're just going to be cordial to them, or you're going to make fun of them, because everyone who's you know, air quotes, everyone who's ugly to you is going to be made fun of, is going to be a laughing stock. Now, I honestly can't bring up examples, but for example, Tess Holiday, this gorgeous woman, who is plus size, was being ridiculed by this one person on TikTok a few days ago. And they're like, this is the person they want to make a role model for everyone else. Like, being fat is a medical risk. And I was like, listen, you smoke. You're a literal smoker. Being fat, sure, it has its medical risks, understandable. But you have to understand, quite literally, doing so many mundane things in your life have their risks. For example, if you're a writer, you're putting yourself and your hands into medical risk. If you're oops, I got too angry. If you're a traditional writer and you use a pencil, you can give yourself carpal tunnel because of the fact that you use your hands, you know, and you use them repetitively in the same movement. But nobody talks about that. If you're a musician, you are putting yourself in medical danger because you can give yourself tinnitus. I don't know if that's how you say it, tinnitus. You can give yourself ear diseases. You can give yourself eyes some issues. You know, I've read about it. But you are giving yourself some medical issues, right? You can work in any profession, in any place, and you can give yourself issues because of the fact that a lot of mundane things in our life can cause medical risks. Quite literally, sitting for too long provides medical risks, or working, overexerting yourself for too long provides medical risk, right? But that's not discussed enough. Nobody discusses all these things. Nobody discusses the fact that doing very normal things can also cause these issues. But suddenly, when you're fat, every single thing about your medical history is going to be discussed. You know, people are going to assume you have diabetes and you need hip replacements. There was this article written about these plus size Nike kind of sportswear things for women, where this person was like, you're not going to be wearing sportswear, you don't even do exercise, you're going to be going for your 5th hip replacement. And I have never been angrier at a person in my life than I was at that person who wrote the article, because it's so horrible to say that just because a person is overweight that they don't do all of these things, because I don't think they can. There was this article about this daycare attendant who stopped giving children their milk because they were fat, stopped giving children food, and these children would literally faint because they didn't have food, they weren't getting anything, they'd be going for hours without anything to eat. And she said, well, they're fat, so that means, their fat reserves could be used for food. Like, number one, you're the dumbest person on this planet. Don't even try to argue with that. Number two, who says that? Who says, this child's kind of fat, so I'm not going to give them their food? That's, number one, that's child neglect. And number two, you're just dumb. You're just dumb. There's no way of going around that. You are the dumbest person on this planet. Another example, Lizzo. We were talking about Tess Holiday, actually. Never mind. Lizzo's I'm going to talk about her as well because, she's an enigma of a woman. Tess Holiday is going on all of these magazine covers and she looks gorgeous in what she wears, and honestly, she looks like she doesn't care, But people will be they were so horrendously mean to her about all of these things that they don't even know about. Again, it is a choice for somebody else. This is an entire other human being who you are not caring for, who you are not related to. Why would you get so upset about something that doesn't even affect you? Like, that's what makes me confused. Like, it doesn't matter if they're fat. It doesn't matter if, like, one leg's shorter than the other. If they're, like, 5'4" and they're, like, 60 years old. Like, it does not matter. It is not your issue. Like, if something annoys you, if you think something is kind of, you don't like it, just leave it be. Be like a decent human being and move past it, which I have had to do and which most people do for so many things. Move past it. I didn't like what this person said about Tess Holiday, but did I go into their comments and make like huge derogatory comments about them? No. I don't even know if they smoke. I just said that because it came out of a moment of frustration. But, whatever this person believes, I don't have to step down to their level and say, oh, well, you're kind of a horrible person. I mean, in some aspects you are, but in some aspects, I don't know, maybe you donate like $5 million to charity every week or something. I don't know. Going completely off topic right now, sorry. This is a subject that just kind of makes me very emotionally angry. It just makes me upset. But let's talk about Lizzo. Most of us know Lizzo. She's a performer. She does all of these amazing songs and performances. And, if you're a artist, if you're a musician, you have a really tight schedule if you go on tour. And if you've seen any of her tour videos, you can see that she is moving so much. She is moving left, right, and center on stage all times. You put that kind of energy out, you are going to feel exhausted. You are going to feel tired. You're going to be like, damn, that was a lot of work that I've just put in, right? But people will make fun of her and they'll be like, they're going to be like, oh, this person's so fat. They probably don't even do any exercises. They probably don't even do any of these things. The physique Lizzo has nothing to do with what she eats or how much she works out. Some people just have low metabolism. Some people just don't, their bodies just absorb all of the things they eat, right? But does that mean that they're like lazy? No, that's just a stereotype again. Because if you look at Lizzo and the way that she has been working, you can see that, a lot of effort has been put into it. I could take so many other examples and be like, well, these people, they work so hard, and again, they're overweight. But I don't need to, because I think the basis of this conversation is if you feel like something it doesn't work out for you, or you dislike it, or you think, or you're just being mean towards it because you think it's funny, I would suggest you don't do that. Because it's very easy to be mean and, kind of move on because it doesn't affect you because it's just a small part of your life. But the person you're being mean towards could have, have horrible consequences because of that. You don't know who this person is. You're probably never going to meet them. But that one comment or that one remark is always going to stay with them for as long as, they can remember it, right? It's a very, very horrible thing to put your ideas and put your thoughts onto someone, force them onto someone, and think that, just because I think this way, everyone else should think this way. Sometimes there's a huge difference between you and another person. It might be because of culture, it might be just because of upbringing, or it might just be because you're different people. Not everyone thinks the same. Not everyone, has the same ideologies. But making fun of somebody just because of the way they look is the worst possible thing you can do to someone. Even though it doesn't matter how you've been brought up. It doesn't matter, what kind of life you've led up until this moment. Being mean to someone in all aspects of everyone's life is bad. Everyone knows that. Everyone's been taught that. You've been taught that in schools. You've probably been taught that at homes. And, if you've been through it, you at least should know this much, that if I've been through it and I know how it feels, other people probably feel the same way as well, right? Because that's how it always works. And, just don't make fun of people. Don't make fun of people. It's really easy. Don't make fun of people because of the way they are or the way they do. Obviously, let's get on to the next thing about this. If a person has done something bad and you're not making fun of them, that's kind of dumb because, you gotta make fun of, not fun, but you gotta call out someone if they've done something bad. If they're just sitting there, minding their own business, making dumb point of view videos that you can just leave a like on and be like, hey, that was funny. Just go on, do your work. You don't have to be like, oh, look at this lame-ass loser who doesn't know how the internet works. Just why? Why would you do that? Why would you even say that? Anyways, let's go on to the other part of this, is actively supporting or, not calling out people who have been kind of horrible people who have done bad things. My favorite example is Trisha Paytas. Obviously, don't make fun of her because she's fat. Don't make fun of her because she's done this or that, even though Trisha Paytas right now is pregnant, and people, funniest thing is when she was all fine and she was culturally appropriating, saying all these weird things about weird people, everyone was fine with it. But as soon as she has a kid, everyone just wants the kid to die because they think she's an unfit mother. It's really rude, number one, because you need to call out, you need to talk about the person who is the issue. You don't need to bring in their unborn child into this, but, let's talk about Trisha Paytas and some other people. Trisha Paytas, if you don't know, if you've lived under a rock for the past 20 years of your life, she is a YouTube personality. She's made really weird content. She had this podcast with H3H3, another internet personality I'm just kind of icky about. And, she's said it herself that her way of gaining fame was by doing outlandish things, like doing... I think she said she was trying to kind of defend her use of N-word during singing songs and doing somewhat blackface, and doing blackface and just saying really weird, outlandish things about people. And, because saying bad things and doing bad stuff gets you a lot of fame and a lot of publicity. It worked out for her. Obviously, it works out for everyone. But then people kind of figure these things out, and then they're like, oh, we're going to cancel you, and then she got canceled, and then she had the podcast with H3H3, and because of the fact that she was so funny and so unpredictable and so quirky on it, people were like, oh, Trisha Paytas is so cool, and then they forgot everything. For example, let's take another one of her associates, Shane Dawson. Shane Dawson is another gorgeous future personality who has done outlandish things in the name of being funny, quirky, and having dark humor. And once he was called out on it, he made videos, and then he was called out again and again and again until, he had these kind of very inevitable cycles of, what do you call it? How would you explain it? Kind of cycles of being cancelled and coming back to the internet. The first one was really long back, and then he had this conspiracy theory time, and then he was cancelled again, and then he went into documentaries, and he was cancelled again, and then I never bothered to check up on him because I'm not a Shane Dawson fan. But again, just because a person, is entertaining doesn't mean you have to support them through whatever they've done. Other people could be, I don't really know, I don't really watch. I don't know if you guys know about this, but there was, God, I forget. I'm not going to talk about Ethan Klein because honestly, I don't know what he's done, but he's just very demeaning. I know what he's done, but it's a very long subject, and I have 10 minutes left, so I'm not going to talk about him. There are other companies and other people who are, Logan Paul. Logan Paul was, a horrible person, and then he apologized and gave money to a charity that wasn't even operating in the place that the whole forest incident occurred, and everyone was fine with it. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't checked out any of the details. This is what I know because I used to watch him back then, and everyone kind of forgave him, right? And he has this podcast where he's openly so annoying, right? And I guess a part of it is redeemable because at least he's tried to better himself from after those actions. And Jake Paul, everyone hates Jake Paul. I don't really have a back to fame story for him. Jeffree Star, again, no back to fame story for him, but it took a very long time and a very long list of accusations in order for this person to be finally canceled. But, all of these people had done something and they were supported for so long. And I don't really know what made people support them. But, it's just annoying. It's just, I don't really know where I'm going with this. So I'm just kind of trying to figure out where to go. But, just because these people were famous, I believe, and, they had these kind of personality traits and they were charismatic, people would just kind of lean towards them because, either they were their childhood or they just enjoyed watching them. And, they would be forgiven easily for all of these things because of the fact that, Shane Dawson was my childhood. I couldn't possibly stop watching him. But if it's just dumb. I just want to talk about them. I hate all of these people. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If it doesn't make sense, I'm really sorry. I'm actually really exhausted. If you like the podcast, you can follow me on my podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Yeah, I have an Apple Podcast now. I have to put that into. And my YouTube channel for this podcast. You can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram. My TikTok and Instagram are going to be linked in the description of my Spotify and on my Apple Podcast. And for my YouTube, you can just kind of click the links and it'll take you there. And if you're one of my friends, please tell me if this made sense. If it didn't, please tell me because I don't know if it made sense or not. I hope you have a good day, and I hope your night will be good. If it's nighttime for you, I hope your nighttime goes good. And I'll see you maybe a week after. Bye-bye.